Getting ready to go racing from the virtual Watkins Glen International Speedway. I'm Rick James, joined by Annihilator, here to bring you the Farewell Series for NASCAR Heat 5, put on by ENEA, brought to you by the good folks over at DI9 Designs. Over to my right, Annihilator. Tanner, welcome to the show, my friend. Welcome to this thrilling Farewell Series on Heat. And we'll get back with Tanner here in just a moment's time, but we're getting ready to go. Here is your starting lineup. CGMX Rose in the number 42, McDelivery Chevrolet. Then you've got Honestly in the number 4, Bush Ford starting to his outside. KFB 18 starting in the number 12, Body Armor Ford alongside Word Burton in the number 77, Advent Health Chevrolet. Then you've got PTH the GOAT in the number 18, Skittles Zombie Camry, and it's a Toyota Lockout next to J-Man. Q Drew LMAO in the third Toyota behind him, rocking the number 20 TRD Camry. Stout Whiskey in his traditional number 2, a More Smoke in the custom Valvoline number 5. Then you've got NNR Trip in the Fraternal Order of Eagles, number 16 Chevrolet. TGM Beast in the number 9, Kelly Blue Book Chevy. Then you've got Tenacious in the 13, Knockout in the number 17, Fifth Third Mustang. Big shout out to Knockout and Trip for streaming their screens today. Can't forget about Clean in the 88, the Real MT in the number 37, Natty Light Chevy. Then you've got LXTX in the number 43, Cash App Chevy. Catch Dog, Hound Dog in the 3, Old Tweeter, last season's champion as Top Esports just subscribes here. Then you've got TRT in the number 1, Sir Brunson in the number 6, Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. ENEA Shotgun playing pace car tonight. Waiting for that pace car to peel off, getting ready for 90 laps of action at Watkins Glen. It's the Farewell Series, getting ready to go racing. Rose next to Clean in the 4. Green flag is out. Let's race at Watkins Glen. Already 3 wide into that first corner, headed up that hill. Let's see what they can muster. Wide into that first corner, headed up that hill. Let's see what they can muster. Annihilator, if you can hear us, buddy, welcome to the show. Just getting around some technical difficulties here, but thank you all of you that have just joined. You see the 12 of KFB, now your new leader, 2 laps into this race ahead of the 77 of Word Burton. Then it's iRace Clean in the number 4, sitting in the 3rd position. PTH the GOAT, Dr. Bush, and I'm sorry, no, that's not PTH the GOAT. That is who is that? There's so many different car numbers, I can't remember who's who now. That's the 42, though, of somebody. CGMX Rose. I haven't seen Rosie driving that 42 in forever. I'm used to the Credit 1 scheme, so close to the guardrail. And how's that for early lap action? Annihilator by my side. Welcome to the show, my friend. Welcome to the Glen. How are you enjoying this one so far? So far, no noise out of Annihilator. Let's see if we can fix this a little bit. Sebastian the Cat also getting his 2 cents in as well. And there we go. Now we're getting some audio difficulty here, saying they can't hear me in Discord chat. So let's get this resolved. And it looks like the first cautions actually come out. So we're going to take that opportunity to get this sorted here. Zach Attack now recently following. Thank you, Zach. And Annihilator letting me know that he can't hear me. So I will fix these audio issues. We're going to get this sorted. We'll be back in a moment. Tanner, I think we got you now, ready to go to green once again. Tanner Lockhart by my side, getting ready to go racing. The 77 of Ward Burton coming down pit road. J-Man starting on the front row. Tanner, we're racing again.
You know, Rick, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for working real hard to get the audio issues fixed, but I hear you loud and clear now, sir.
Sounding good so far. Great restart by the 19. J-Man climbing up that hill. He's got that 9 car down to his side going through this field. That's TGM Beast in the 9 car. It's Toyota, Chevy, Ford up the hill. The 19 of J-Man leads. Here comes the 12. Annihilator coming into this race. Look at the way they just piled down into that bus stop. You see the 9 of Beast getting a bit too extracurricular with his exit of the bus stop, and it cost him dearly. 9 cars gone around after being shoved, and they're putting it on his lid there. The 18 certainly getting there, and caution in number 2 now out all over the racetrack. And Tanner, a very twitchy beginning to this 90-lap event at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, Rick, I mean, it's Watkins Glen. Everyone's trying to make a quick name for themselves. This is the first time we've all seen this group of guys racing with one another. It's a fast track. A lot of people are confident in their ability to get around these corners, but it's also a narrow track, so we got to be cautious going 2 and 3 wide places, especially through that the S's right there, and we saw the 9 car unfortunately get hooked.
We're going to have our third restart of the day here. Really a star-studded field, as you can see. LXTX in the 43, Catchdog in that 24 car, ENEA Hound Dog in this field as well. So many names. There's our pole sitter, CGMX Rose, starting in row number 2. It's KFB and J-Man restarting again. Tanner, we're green again at the Glen.
Yes, sir. The 19 and 12 take us down into turn 1. It'll be interesting to see if KFB outbreaks the 19 to get the advantage off turn 1, and it looks like the 19 carries the momentum through the corner, and they will have a side-by-side battle through the S's.
Up that hill, already some action behind them. There you see cars trying to stay off each other, going 2 and 3 wide. Yes, 3 wide up the Watkins Glen hill. Ward Burton and Drew LMAO making heavy contact, and now it is a big crash behind them. You saw it, Tanner, and look at that traffic jam. Cars piled up everywhere, and it's another immediate caution all over the racetrack, Tanner. What's it going to take for these guys to get a couple of laps of green flag racing without incident?
Patience. Patience is virtue right now, man. I mean, everyone wants to try to get as much as they can on every restart. Cautions breed cautions, but if you have that patience, you're going to keep your car clean, you'll keep your nose clean, and you'll make the spots happen.
So much anxiety, but so much excitement for this series as well, this Heat 5 Farewell Series, as they're calling it. Once again, a big shout out to Top Esports subscribing for the 10th straight month. Thank you everybody watching out on Twitch, Twitch and YouTube as well. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know who you're rooting for on the front row. It's the 19 of J-Man and the 12 of KFB one more time. Tanner, we're turning them loose again, racing again at the Glen.
As we head down in turn 1 again, the 19 and the 12 both eagerly...
19 on the outside.
Yes, sir. 19 is going to carry the momentum off the corner and most likely take the lead. It'll be interesting to see. Looks like Shotgun. Yeah, it looks like Shotgun is coming up to the front of the field to bring us under a manual caution. Maybe take a single file restart here to help alleviate some of the drivers being on top of one another.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen here. Ryan Lindemann says, ENEA Lindo checking in, Road Course Demolition Derby 2021. Thanks for checking in, Lindo. Big shout out to ENEA Shotgun, who's going to be pacing this field, and we will be doing a single file restart, as you say, Tanner, to alleviate some of the congestion that we've been seeing going up this hill. That actually gives us a minute to take our first break of the evening. Fans watching at home, we'll be back in just a quick 60 seconds, and this allows us to be ad-free for 21 minutes. Stay tuned. We'll be back in 60 for the restart. Well, and my mistake there, and I just screwed a ton of viewers out of live racing, and that's my mistake. Oh boy. All right. Well, we're going green anyway. It looks like there was a caution. That was a game caution, not a manual caution that came out. 5 to go in stage number 1. Tanner, they are racing out of the gates already, and it's another immediate caution, it looks like. Well, it looks like that drivers are taking a rather pedestrian pace going up the hill, and it's another chance at a manual restart. So straight away, too much action for these drivers to handle, Tan.
Yeah, honestly, I think what might have happened there was that while they were pacing it around under single file, maybe a couple drivers accidentally got into one another, trying to speed up or slow down, catch up with the field, and might have potentially brought out a game caution. So that's probably why we're seeing another attempt at a single file restart here.
Fans at home, I do apologize for that 60-second break that we took. That was not a manual caution. It was a game drawn caution, which means that you missed out on some live viewing there. Now, I promise you did not miss much. Even so, I do apologize profusely. We do kind of pride ourselves on uninterrupted green flag racing. My mistake there. So let's do this. Why don't we gift a sub to a couple of viewers here? Let's, Ryan Lindemann, we'll gift you a sub while we're here. Thanks for your patience, Ryan Lindemann. Appreciate you. And while we're here, Uncle Fry, John Fry 32, you'll also get a 1-month subscription on me. Thank you so much for being patient and understanding. Really, really appreciate you, fans. And we can't do this without you. My apologies for messing you guys out of some live racing. Hopefully those subscriptions and that ad-free viewing keeps you engaged. But back to racing, Tanner. The pace car peels off, scrolling through this field as we must do on Heat 5. We're racing once again at the Glen. We've only got 4 to go in stage 1.
The 2 car of that Stout Whiskey making an aggressive move into turn 1, pushing the 12 car of KFB up a little bit, but the 4 car gets to the inside as we see side by side battling for the S's.
Going up the hill, you've got the 8 of Dr. Bush who slams the wall. There's that 18 who slams the wall right behind him. And that 18 car goes to his inside there. CZ Johnson out, and the caution is out once again. That's going to be the end of stage number 1. That excessive damage means that the 4 of Honestly You're Bad will come away as the stage winner. KFB in second. I Race Clean third in stage 1. Then Stout Whiskey, J-Man in 5th. NNR Trip in 6th. Knockout, Catch Dog, More Smoke, and PTH the GOAT rounding out your top 10. And Tanner, if there was anything for these drivers to learn in stage 1, it's certainly that patience will be the most important virtue of the evening.
Yeah, Rick. I mean, like we spoke upon earlier, these guys are mainly pretty new to racing with one another. I mean, we might have run into a few guys in public lobbies and whatnot, or maybe other league races, but everybody needs to have the patience. Your time will come. Just trust in it. You don't need to push too hard right now. As we go back to green with CGM Rose and the 5 on the pole.
CGMX Rose and More Smoke sharing row number 1 in that pair of Chevrolets. Smoke giving no inches in turn number 1, really holding the 42 down, but Luis Zeiter, aka CGMX Rose in the McDelivery Chevrolet, leads the charge up the hill. 3 Chevrolets on the podium position with Word Burton in 3rd, and the caution is out one more time with 71 laps to go. And Tanner, I don't know if you've seen CGMX Rose drive, but this man can pilot a race car.
You know, Rick, I definitely believe exactly what you're saying there. He definitely can pilot this race car. I would love to see a full green flag lap so I can see how he does on some of the other corners around Watkins Glen. But he definitely has the first 3, 4 corners mastered, if I had to put my opinion in there.
Getting ready to restart one more time. 10 seconds to that green flag. Once again, if you've just joined us, I'm Rick James, bringing you uninterrupted green flag coverage, or as much as we can, of the ENEA Farewell Series round 1 of 8 from virtual Watkins Glen, CGMX Rose, and more smoke side by side on the front row. Once again, green flag is out. Let's go racing. 4 laps underway in this first stage. Contact between the top two. There goes the 42, all too high, wide, and handsome. And look at them all spread out 3 wide up the S's. Watching from the 4 of Honestly You're Bad. You just saw the 43 get into the guardrail. This is where they're starting to chop it up, Tanner. They may not survive.
Honestly, Rick, all that matters right now is that Rose is pulling away, and he's high and handsome right now. The 5 of More Smoke's going to try to run him down, but that 42 is running nice and crisp lines, and the rest of the field can worry about their own issues. This 42 is fast.
3 wide through that bus stop. The 2 car gets turned around. Carnage out of the bus stop once again. So far, so good. We're staying green as we come out of the outer carousel. That was Stout Whiskey in the 2 that went for a wild ride in the Discount Tire Mustang. He's struggling to keep that race car in a straight line, but still moving plenty quick. Out of the final corner, it's CGMX Rose, Amour Smoke, and Word Burton, your top 3. Tanner, next time by, drivers will have 16 laps to go in this second stage.
Yeah, with 16 laps to go, Rick, I mean, without any cautions, I can only see this 42 pulling away more and more. He's got the clean air. He's got really no pressure on him at the moment to force him to drive the car harder than he needs to. I mean, he just has exactly what you're looking for at a road course, and with 16 to go, it'll be interesting to see if they're going to need to make any pit stops or how their tires are going to handle for the next X amount of laps in here.
There you see the pace car, ENEA shotgun, diligently blocked right in the in one of the corners of that inner loop, if you will, or the bus stop as it's known, preventing shenanigans of any sorts and track cuttings of the like. Now we've got NNR trip to the inside of LXTX, and Tanner, you've noticed a lot of drivers really making great use of that runoff area out of the carousel. Surely there has to be, and there you see the 43 LXTX going again. Other drivers really making the most of that runoff area, 3 wide out of the final corner. Now J-Man and Tripp side by side, drag racing down the front straight with 16 laps to go. Excellent racing in this second period of racing. The 43 of LXTX getting all too familiar with the back end of NNR Tripp and possibly some bad blood amongst those belligerents. But if these drivers could take it easy for just a bit, Tanner, you could tell me whether it's beneficial to really go as wide as these drivers are doing in the bus stop section and through the carousel using those runoffs.
This track specifically does a great job of giving you the extra space to carry the momentum, carry the speed off the corners. And I believe off that carousel right there, the carousel right there is one of the prime areas on the track where drivers like to utilize all that extra space and carry that momentum into that hard left-hander.
Drivers now single file. This is our longest green flag run of the night so far. The Real MT in the number 37 Natural Light Chevrolet ahead of ENEA Hound Dog. There was LXTX in that 43 car. Lost a couple of positions using those runoff areas, but he seems to be safe and sound. Catchdog finished in the top 10 in that first stage, now behind the number 12 Body Armor Ford. That's KFB 18 up ahead. Hound Dog once again trading paint with that 37 car. Old Tweeter, last season's ENEA champion, bringing up the rear by his lonesome. And there you see TRT weaving and bobbing a little bit. It could be connection issues early on in the race, Tanner.
Yeah, you'd hate to see that in the first race of the season, but fortunately in this series you do get to drop your worst race. So if for some reason he ends up lagging out, that is not the end of his season. He still can continue on with the championship hope. You just, you do not want to have a race one lag out.
No, absolutely not. I mean, you certainly don't want to use your first mulligan on round one of the series. Sir Brunson in the Star-Spangled Wienermobile. He's ahead of the 16 car. Now Dr. Bush, he's behind the 19 of J-Man. They're starting to get clustered up here, but at the front, CGMX Rose continues to run game. Lucky number 13 laps to go, and the McDelivery Chevrolet has broken out an impressive lead over the 5 of Amore Smoke. Honestly, you're bad in the 3rd position, Tanner. Chevy, Ford, your top 3.
Yeah, up through the S's there for a second. It looked like the 42 might have gotten a little loose, maybe clipped the grass and got all 4 tires in there, but he was able to save it nicely and continue on with his lead. Not sure if Amore Smoke was able to gain much off that, but 42 has pointed in the right direction and he's continuing on with his dominance.
And there, what was that? Looks like the 13 just went straight through the pace car there, coming out of the bus stop. That was the Geico camouflage Chevrolet that looked like he went right through the pace car, who would otherwise be there to stop such corner-cutting shenanigans. The stewards will have to check and see if that deems a penalty, but so far we continue riding along with Ward Burton in the 77 car. Tanner, coming down that first corner, give us a lap around Watkins Glen.
Give me 1 second, Rick. I'm sorry. I'm just speaking with a couple of officials right now, just talking about that incident you just peeked on, because the 13 car did, in fact, go through the pace car. So we're trying to figure out if that might have been incidental contact on the track, or if that might have been intentional, trying to cut the track. So just give me 1 second, Rick, and I'll be able to answer that for you.
No, you take your time, Connor. He's currently adjudicating with the stewards, as it would be, trying to find what became of that corner cutting. Still 13 laps remain in this second stage, and it looks like the leaders have, well, at least 2nd through 4th, have bunched back together in an effort to hunt down CGMX Rose. The 17 car, I can tell you, ENEA knockout, taking a big cut through the exit of the bus stop. He just received a penalty and has been knocked down to 12th. J-Man sitting behind the number 12 of KFB, making laps. And now it seems like the drivers have time to settle down. The drivers have the ability to breathe after that far congested first stage. Stout Whiskey, however, continues to slam those blue guardrails that surround the racetrack. Whiskey doing his best, trying not to cut that bus stop. Now here's Amore Smoke, who's in 2nd. Here comes Honestly in the number 4, Bush Ford. To the outside, down the backstretch, Amore Smoke has the preferred line. Honestly will outbrake him into the bus stop, but did he overcook it? And the 4 car keeps it true, keeps it steady. Clinical textbook pass for 2nd place. Now it's CGMX Rose, Honestly You're Bad, and Amore Smoke, your top 3 at the Glen. Drew LMAO is in 4th, and Ward Burton rounds out your top 5. John Fry puts 100 bits in the chat as well earlier. Thank you, Uncle John. Thank you. Appreciate you so much.
Upon determination, it does not seem the 13 did that intentionally. I believe that was just racing contact, Rick, so we are all good to go on that end.
All good on that front. Thank you for the update, Annihilator. Tanner, a.k.a. Annihilator. Whatever you want to be called this week. DGM Beast in the number 9. Kelly Blue Book Chevrolet by his lonesome. And Tanner, these cars finally have some space to themselves. Is it better to have competition around you to keep you on your toes, or do you like a bit of breathing room on the racetrack?
Honestly, you would want a little bit of competition around you, just because if there's any places on the track that you're struggling at, you can almost learn from your competitors and learn from the people around you that maybe, I could back my corners up a little bit going into the S's and carry momentum off, or, maybe take a different line into this corner and carry more speed. And it honestly will definitely help you if you're around competitors.
There you see iRace Clean 89. He recently just cut that bus stop, and he has to suffer that penalty. Comes back out in traffic. The 3 of Hound Dog nearly clips him, and that's the 37 Natural Light Chevy of the Real MT. Now behind that 88. All 3 of these cars very graciously taking their liberties with the exit of the carousel. Now watching LXTX here, and we'll see how wide he decides to go out here. And incredibly wide Tanner, and it looks like that's going to be the fashion is here. Drivers really taking great liberties with the exit of that carousel, trying to gain as much speed as possible.
Yeah, Rick, all it takes is 1 or 2 laps of someone in front of you taking that corner wide, gaining maybe 1 or 2 tenths, and for you to realize, okay, that's what I need to start doing. I need to start taking these corners a little wider, maybe carrying a little more momentum and seeing if I can just max out the speed going down these long straightaways.
Top Esports hosting this stream here. Appreciate you so much. All the folks over there at Top Esports. If you've recently joined us, I'm Rick James, joined by Tanner Lockhart, bringing you the first of 8 races in the ENEA Heat 5 Farewell Series. You're watching ENEA Hound Dog chasing down ENEA Knockout. Both of these drivers part of ENEA and battling right now for the 13th position, the 17 fifth third Ford in 13th, the number 3 Bass Pro Chevrolet of Knockout in the 14th position. Old Tweeter in the 21 with a long way to go. He is mired back through this field, almost virtually undamaged, is the number 1 of TRT. He's chasing down a couple of cars ahead, as is Sir Brunson, who's chasing down what appears to be the 43 of LXTX. Back to the front of this race, Tanner. It has been CGMX Rose's day without any competition. This McDelivery Chevrolet is on a rail.
Absolutely, Rick. And with, this big of a lead, it'll be interesting to see if he tries any sort of fuel strategy. If, they're going to be close at the end on fuel or in tires, if maybe he can back it up a little bit and avoid having to come in and make a pit stop, or if, the 2 times wear actually has no effect to them and that if he's going to make it to the end, just keep on trucking.
Out of that final corner, the number 42 comes down that front straight, crosses the line, and now inside the final 10 laps of stage number 2. Here's Honestly You're Bad and the number 9 of TGM Beast side by side. Out of the final corner, the Busch Ford takes the position away from the number 9. These drivers well outside the top 5. This is the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The 5 of Lamore Smoke sitting in 2nd, the number 20 of Drew LMAO holding 3rd, and you're looking at the 77 Advent Health Camaro. That is Word Burton in the 4th position. It will be 7 to go next time by in stage number 2. Tanner, it's going to be wildly close on fuel. What are these drivers going to do to save fuel around the racetrack?
Maybe just not drive it into the corner so deep. Maybe if they have a clutch pedal, like a lot of these competitors do have, just start riding that a little bit harder, or pull yourself out of gear. I know a few drivers that have been able to use different shifters to just pull themselves right out of gear, coast around certain corners, and they save immense amounts of gas. But on the times 2, I'm not sure how much they're going to be able to save and where they're really going to pick up all that fuel.
Rolling it into the corner is going to be one of the best strategies they can use. That way they don't have to spend so much gas on acceleration. But of course, as the tires wear, grip becomes an issue for these drivers. They're going to need to find a way to not give it so much wheel into the corner, because it almost feels like a knife edge, Tanner, where the drivers have grip up until the car just wildly snaps out of direction.
Yeah, Rick, and with having competitors around you, having to race hard and keep your position, keep those points for the stage, it's going to be really hard to put the power down and maintain your position with guys around you having your tires getting that worn.
You're watching the number 18 of PTH, the GOAT. He's ahead of the number 24 of Catchdog. Still looking at that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place battle among these drivers. Now with J-Man, who's at the back end, he's following the 12 of KFB. A lot of these drivers, Tanner, ENEA drivers, so they're familiar with how they drive around each other, but it certainly has to be a challenge driving with new names and faces you might not be used to seeing.
Oh, absolutely, Rick, without a doubt. One thing that we would like to pride about this farewell series, though, is that it's an invitational. We only invited the top guys that we thought would be able to race week in, week out without any, drama or without any incidents. So we're pretty confident that these guys are going to mesh well together. Yeah, there might be contradicting personalities, but when it comes to racing on the track, we're confident that these guys can put their best foot forward and, show the proper driver etiquette to have a nice series and not have any headbutting, I should say.
Certainly getting a lot of headbutting out of the way in that first stage, but for now things have calmed down. The 42 of CGMX Rose using that chrome horn to move the number 2 of Stout Whiskey, now chasing down the number 3 of ENEA Hound Dog. Coming to the final 5 laps of the second stage of racing, the number 5 of Amore Smoke now by his lonesome. Can't tell if he's merely pulled away from the drivers behind him or if he's had an incident himself. The number 16 of NNR Trip by his lonesome, now chasing down what looks to be 11th through 14th, if I'm not mistaken, the train being headed by the number 17 of ENEA Knockout. There he is in the 11th position. The Real MT running 12th, and it looks like green flag pit stops are underway, Tanner. Some drivers choosing to come down before the end of this stage. Is that a good strategy, or is that yet to be determined?
Well, with the first person being Dr. Bush, I believe he knows something that maybe these drivers don't. With it being a road course like this, I think the fresh tires are definitely going to help him, even if it is only 1 or 2 laps fresher than his competitors. But I definitely do believe that pitting early is going to be where you want to play your strategy right now, as we see the 42 also coming to pit road.
The 42 car playing the role of the leader. Let's scroll back. That is CGMX Rose choosing to come down. Dr. Bush leaving his pit stall. The leader is in for tires and for fuel. So who will emerge as the Stage 2 winner? We're approaching the final 4 laps of racing, and it could be a gamble on tires. It looks like the number 9 of TGM Beast now being scored as the leader. Scrolling through this field, you can see the majority of the top 5 coming down for tires and fuel. There is our race leader, TGM Beast, currently running in the first position. He's coming to 3 laps to go, and he's attempting to put Old Tweeter a lap down. Now, Tanner, the 9 car, if he is on worn tires and low fuel, certainly one of the most susceptible cars to damage.
Without a doubt, sir. Once you start burning off all that gas from the rear end, the rear end likes to get really light, and when you unfortunately get back on the gas too early around some of these corners to make up time or to really get that throttle off, it likes to get loose, and once you start sliding, it's really hard to correct that, sir. As we see the 9 actually make his pit stop now, so the leader is in for fuel and tires. Wonder where this 42 will come back around.
We'll keep an eye on that 42. There you do see the 9 of TGM Beast coming down pit road. So the lead now goes to the number 4 car. Honestly, You're Bad 79 in the Bush Ford. Now 3 laps to go in this second period of our 3 periods of racing. The number 24 Catchdog 70 behind him. There's the 21 of Old Tweeter, having a rough time like his Ford counterpart, the 2 of Stout Whiskey. But now all eyes on this 4 car, Tanner. Everyone guessing when will he come down pit road, and if he doesn't come down in this second stage, he'll be starting stage 3 not only with an advantage, but he'll let those cars ahead of them really trade all the paint they need to early on in stage 3.
Yeah, Rick, I think honestly You're Bad is going to try to stretch to the end here, because from what I'm hearing, if he would pit now, it would be actually a black flag for pitting too late in the stage. So I believe he's going to try to stretch it out to the end here. If not, he's going to have to take a black flag on pitting too late in the stage.
The 4 car now coming to these final 3 circuits of racing out of that final corner, following the number 24 of Catchdog, and it looks like he's playing it rather conservatively now, knowing he's got just 4 more miles and change to get this second stage win. But of course, it's all for nothing if he can't wrap it up in the end. Now fewer than 2 laps is all that remains, and it's a fuel mileage game now, Tanner.
Yes, sir, Rick. It is definitely going to be a fuel mileage game. I'm hearing from our in-race admins that we may or may not have 3 separate occasions of course cutting. So we might have a few cars making a stop and go here in the next few laps, or if not, in the start of the 3rd.
The scrutineers of our race really making sure that drivers are following all the appropriate rules when they can. The number 4 of Honestly You're Bad Will he be one of the drivers afflicted by the course cutting? Will he make it to the end, coming to the final lap in this second stanza of this 90-lap poem in the Finger Lakes of what? Is it the Finger Lakes? I have no idea. Somebody who's more familiar with New York, get in the chat and correct me and tell me if this is the Finger Lakes area, but I think it is. Tanner, you wouldn't know, would you?
Unfortunately not, no. I'm from the Midwest like yourself, sir.
Fantastic. So anyway, honestly, you're bad in on the final lap of racing in this second stage. Fans at home will take a quick 30-second break to keep the pre-rolls off for another 10 minutes, and then we'll start the third stage of racing at the Glen. It's been a successful-ish race so far, despite all the action in the first couple of stages. But Tanner, it looks like the 4 car is going to make it all the way to the end on fuel. And what a drive and what a calculation by the 4 of Honestly You're Bad, trading paint late on with the 12 of KFB. But certainly, and now the 4 car knows something that his competition doesn't, and he's got an advantage for stage 3.
Absolutely. I mean, the points he's going to accumulate here from winning this stage, if he can make it around to the checkered, is going to be huge for his season. This is definitely not going to be a race that Honestly You're Bad is going to drop, even if he has a bad result here.
Out of that final corner, and it looks like he may very well actually be out of fuel, and he is the 4 car out of fuel in stage number 2, but he crosses the line as the victor. Honestly You're Bad getting the stage win out of gas on the last lap. Talk about cutting it close. Same with the 17 of ENEA Knockout running out of fuel and sputtering across that line in the 6th position. So your stage 2 win goes to Honestly You're... I'm sorry, no. It's Catchdog 70. It must have been some late race passing there. It is Catchdog 70, KFB in 2nd, Honestly You're Bad is 3rd, PTH the GOAT in 4th, CGMX Rose in 5th, ENEA Knockout in 6th, J-Man 7th, the Real MT, Drew LMAO, 9th. Quick 30-second break, and we'll be back to racing. Racing once again at the Glen. Green flag is out. Stage number 3 is on. Fans at home, we apologize for our misclassification of these cars as they funnel into the first corner and scrape what remaining paint they have left. E5 does not provide us with telemetry as it was promised, so it's a bit difficult to tell you what car is in what place. But for our race streamers, the 16 of Trip and the 17 of Knockout, thank you for making it a bit more bearable. But we're racing once again, a more smoke on the point. The 24 of Catchdog, the 12 of KFB rounding out the podium. And Tanner, now the 13 goes around in the bus stop, and cars funneling everywhere, knocking every place they can. And this has to be the most treacherous part of any road course race.
Yeah, you hate to have trouble this early in the stage, but fortunately, having trouble this early in the stage, he does have a chance to fight back. So, you know, you feel for the guy, but you just hope the best for him the rest of the race, and maybe he'll be able to turn it around and come back for a top 10.
PTH the GOAT coming out slow out of that final corner. Everybody makes it through without incident. 45 laps now underway of the scheduled 90, so we'll hit the halfway mark next time by. Leading this race with 46 to go is the 5 of Amore Smoke. Drew LMAO being overtaken by the 42 of CGMX Rose. He's got ENEA Knockout right behind him as he advances up that adorned bright blue guardrailed hill. Down the back straight, here's the 2 of Stout Whiskey now to the inside of the 37 car. They're going to fight for the position into the bus stop. Such a dangerous part of the racetrack. Say again, Tanner.
That's it. The 24 slid wide. We have a new second place driver. I believe it's Honestly You're Bad who slid up there. Yes, I raced clean and slid off the track. So I'm hearing a report from a bunch of officials that we have lots of drivers sliding off the track in the back.
possibly some drivers not getting tires, possibly some drivers not necessarily taking care of their tires early on. Scrolling through this field as we must do, there's the 24 of Catchdog who slid off track, still in the top 5, however, out of this final corner. We've now passed the halfway mark. The 5 leads. Now here comes the 42. Look at that, briefly 4 wide into that first corner. Drivers trying to outbrake each other in furious fashion into that 90-degree turn 1. But so far, despite the hard racing, Tanner, everyone is making it through mostly okay.
Yeah, it seems like the sense of patience has finally set in with some new drivers, and they're not so eager to make the pass or put themselves in a uncomfortable situation to advance the position. So I'm happy to see that we're finally getting some green flag racing. We're trying to see, or we're getting to see who has the fast cars and who's prevailing to the front, we should say.
The 8 car of Dr. Bush getting a bit too wide out of the carousel, losing a substantial amount of positions. There's CGMX Rose now chasing down ENEA Knockout for position. Rose in the 8th position, Knockout in 6th, now getting around Catchdog in the 24 as we have a fight for the lead. Honestly, you're bad, looking to outbreak a more Smoke into turn number 1. Smoke gives him a hard time on the way in. Honestly, out of that first corner, he goes very wide out to the guardrail. He will complete the pass around a more Smoke, and your new leader in the number 4, Bush Ford. Honestly, you're bad.
Yeah, that 4 car looks very fast right now, Rick. I'm curious to see if maybe the 5 car was just backing off, trying to preserve some of his tires, or if that 4 car really is as fast as he is appearing.
Out of that final bus stop, Kink, honestly you're bad, sticks it in second. Looking at the 3rd place driver, KFB, sitting in the 3rd position. He's ahead of the 18 car, PTH the GOAT. These drivers trying to be careful with each other, trying to make sure they take care of each other's position at the front. There's still so much racing that remains. PTH the GOAT in the 18 car, rolling around with the 12 of KFB. Let's ride around for a lap at Watkins Glen and listen to this high-octane madness. Excellent display of skill out here at the Glen. The 18 of PTH the GOAT getting a bit closer to that 12 car out of the final corner. PTH the GOAT sitting in that 18, just riding around, and it's hard, Tanner, for these drivers to stay calm and I was going to say uncompetitive, which really isn't the right word, but kind of to get in the zone a bit and to put the racing aside and kind of preserve the car, as it were.
Yeah, Rick, you almost have to fall into a rhythm where you can just knock lap after lap without really putting in too much effort, where you feel like, you have to turn extra hard in one corner or apply too much brake here. You got to fall into a groove, hit your marks, and at the end of the race, your car will be there. Especially this 4 car, the 18, the 20. I've seen a lot of fast cars up here that have been up there most of the day that have found a few instances of discomfort or incidents, but I'm sorry, I'm hearing things from the admins right now I need to respond to. I'll be right back, so sorry.
No, absolutely. He's you can't blame a guy. He's got admins in one ear. He's trying to keep one ear, a race control in one ear and me in the other, so hats off to Tanner doing his thing. Laps continue to wind down at the Glen. We're approaching 40 to go this time by in the first race of the Heat 5 Farewell Series. A more Smoke getting out of control in that first corner. He heads up the hill as he's just been overtaken by the 18 of PTH the GOAT. KFB now closing the gap in the body armor Ford. Into that bus stop now, the 18 getting away, and he takes a big cut through the inner loop there, and you saw daylight or green light between the car and the rumble strip there. Not sure what the 18 necessarily will see here or what the stewards will decide. The 9 of TGM Beast keeping the car on the rumble strip on the way out of the bus stop. No harm, no foul, but the 13 Geico Chevy of Tenacious Z motionless now in pit road, and that's going to be a DNF for the Geico Military Chevrolet. The 17 of ENEA Knockout out of the final corner, currently running in 6th. Word Burton sitting in the 7th position with 40 laps to go, chasing down the 5th, 3rd Ford. Pit stops imminent. Drivers have to think about making those green flag pit stops sooner rather than later. Dr. Bush currently hanging out in the 8th position at the back of this three-way fight. iRace Clean in the number 88 Noco Chevy Goods Camaro. Behind the 37 of the Real MT headed up the hill. These two having their own private fight. Now you've got LXTX being followed, hounded really, by the number 1 Monster Chevy of the Real MT, or I'm sorry, of TRT, who goes around at the top of the hill. And so far, no harm there. The one car seems to have just scraped along the wall, smashed it himself, and luckily no competition coming to overtake him down the back straight. Inside the final 40 laps of racing, and TRT now has to get a hold of himself and keep the car pushing in the right direction. Sir Brunson in the Star-Spangled Oscar Mayer Wienermobile by his lonesome, racking up laps. Dr. Bush in that number 8, he's sitting behind the 77 car of Word Burton, following him politely. Once again, C. Johnson not able to do much in this race. Hopefully he'll be back for the second round of competition. As you see it, CGMX Rose not in the lead. He's behind the 18 of PTH the GOAT. There's Honestly You're Bad behind the 20 of Drew LMAO. This is your race leader now with 48 laps to go in this race. This driver running out of fuel to win stage number 2. Can he pull off the same sort of fuel mileage trick? It looks like he's got the 9 of TGM Beast following close behind. Tanner, I know we've only been through 2 stages of this race, but who's most impressive so far?
The man that I chose, or at least thought was the most impressive, is currently being ran down by our leader. That Drew, sorry, I need to get my gamer tags correct, because this is a new driver that I am meeting for the first time. Sorry, Drew LMAO, sorry, that's the correct gamer tag. Yeah, so he was the one that I wanted to say was the most impressive to me. I mean, he had a lot of adversity at the beginning of the race that he was able to come through. He was finding himself, battling with some tough drivers and, up in the top 5, but it'll be interesting to see if he can battle his way back. I mean, if you had to choose a driver, obviously the 4 cars look pretty good, and so is the 5, but I'm going to go with someone that's, been through a lot of adversity this race, and maybe pick that 20 to come back and get himself into the top 5.
Honestly You're Bad now being hounded by that leader, Drew LMAO. He could use a break. A caution would come out at such an opportune time for the number 20 TRD Camry, trying to hold off the leader if such an event occurs. Meanwhile, the 12 of KFB exiting turn number 1. He's watching the 5 of Amore Smoke being overtaken by the 18 car of PTH the GOAT, but now here comes the 42 McDelivery Chevrolet. CGMX Rose all over the zombie Camry, and PTH the GOAT does the kind and gentlemanly thing, letting the 42 just scoot on by. CGMX Rose, Tanner, he's had just a brilliant race today, and anybody that's seen Lee Seiter race knows a thing or two about him winning races, but It seems just otherworldly when you see him overtake drivers in such easy fashion.
Oh, absolutely, Rick. Rose has been one of the fastest drivers all day, and I think other drivers on the track recognize that. So it's like it's too many laps remaining in the race to really push it too hard. They see his speed. It's easier for them to just move over, let him go, and maybe learn a thing or two as he's driving in front of them for probably only a few seconds because he's so fast.
More smoke sitting in the 6th position ahead of Ward Burton and Dr. Bush. All of these drivers now catching up to the 17 of ENEA Knockout. 35 laps remain next time by, and we're starting to get into these bunches again, Tanner. We're starting to get into these clusters that turn into packs, and as Repeat would call it, a hornet's nest begins to form. And we're seeing it now with the 43 of LXTX almost getting in the way of some of these drivers. This is where it gets dangerous.
Yeah, with all these drivers being new to one another, I mean, this is the perfect track to make some friends. If you see the leaders or, guys in the lead lap coming up to you, your best option is just to move over if you're not as fast as them. I mean, if you're on fresh tires and that's the reason you're, in the position you're at, then be my guest, go ahead and race it out. But if you want to have success or you want to have a good time racing in this league, sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and move over and let guys go by that are quicker.
And in our trip in that number 16 FOE Chevy getting right in front of the 88 NOCO Chevrolet. These drivers trying not to step on each other's toes, but also trying to give each other the most racing room possible. How will Tripp hold off the double 8? The 37 of the Real MT starting to pull away as well. And Tanner, the drivers have to be getting close to their green flag windows once again. We can't imagine with 2 times wear being what these drivers are up against, we can't imagine that they could go much longer than about 20 laps on one stint.
Yeah, I mean, with the amount of fuel that the game allows us to run on road courses like this, I imagine they're going to try to stretch it as far as they possibly can. But if they find themselves possibly having to make 2 stops from here on out, then I expect to see these guys real soon because it's not worth running your tires all the way down to the end if you have to make 2 stops. If you think you can make it on 1 stop though, then please, try to stretch it out. Be that guy that does something a little unorthodox, something that maybe the other competitors wouldn't think about. But yeah, with the 2 times wear setting on here, the fuel and tires, those are extremely important at this track. So I would expect to see some drivers, in the next few laps.
TGM Beast in the number 9 car. Down that chute, completing another lap, getting closer to the end of this race. Back to ENEA Knockout in the 17. So far, he has survived the onslaught of the 3 drivers behind him, fighting for 6th, 7th, and 8th, respectively, overtaking ENEA Hound Dog. Looking at those coffee-colored clouds of smoke and dirt being kicked up into the New York sky. Drivers taking all that liberty, cutting on those tracks. Tanner, you see those tire tracks in the grass there. Certainly at some point, it can't be that beneficial to cut that much of the track.
Yeah, at the beginning when your tires are fresh and you have all that tread available to you, it definitely will stick through the grass and you might be able to make up a little bit of time. But yeah, when you're looking at 30% or less on your tires, you do not want to touch anything on that side of the track. The grass is not your friend. It is as slick as ice. It will spin you out in a heartbeat.
With a lot of these drivers taking on damage, getting into these packs, these clusters, certainly makes one more nervous than the other. Where do you find your best passing opportunities, Tanner? It's not a very wide racetrack.
No, honestly, you want to try to do it in the straightest part possible. Right off the carousel would be a good point when you're hard on the throttle and you have all that extra room to spread out. That would be a great place. Or if you can really control your braking, even turn 1's a great area. You could, on fresh tires, you could brake as late as 250 feet into the corner and still make it. But, it takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of confidence in the car to do that. So I think your straightaways are going to be the best place to try to make the passes without, putting yourself in a unfamiliar or, a risky situation.
Dr. Bush in the number 8 car, cleverly getting around the 5 of a more smoke, and it looks like the 17 of ENEA Knockout now next on Dr. Bush's list, right in his crosshairs, with CGMX Rose now hurtling down that front straight inside the final 40 laps of racing. The 42 chasing down the 20 of Drew LMAO, and Drew finding himself on the wrong side of the leaderboard. 31 to go. This time by the 4 of Honestly You're Bad continues to lead this race. At least that's what the telemetry says. Approaching the final 31 laps of racing. He's got the best mileage so far. He used it to win stage number 2. Now looking at the number 12 of KFB. Now these cars are in mint condition. Tanner, is that the secret to keeping your car at the front, keeping it clean?
One might think so, but at a track where aerodynamics doesn't exactly matter the most, as long as you got no red, side arrow or red front bumper, I think you'll be okay. I mean, a little front bumper to give you to tighten up the vehicle, especially late in the run, definitely will help you. But yeah, I could see where people would want to have a clean car because it's something nice to say. I went the whole road course without damaging my car. That's definitely an impressive feat. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to have a lot of faith in the guys that you're competing with that they're not going to overdrive through the bus stop or maybe through the S's, because we have seen the entire track get clogged with cars as soon as 1 or 2 guys go around. There's really no room to spread out, and it's hard to avoid getting involved in wrecks. But since our little slew of cautions, it's been pretty green flag racing, and I don't think anyone's really had to worry about how wide the track is with how spread out we are now. We actually see our first set of green flag pit stops being made now. The 4, the 18, the 21. I'm sorry, the 4, the 18, the 12, and the 17 are the first 4 down. As we see, Honestly You're Bad pulling into his pit stop right now.
Drivers fanning out of that carousel, trying to find some place to go. So little room out on the racetrack, especially when the cars are as uncontrollable as you might find them to be. The 19 of J-Man, the 16 of NNR Trip deciding to come down pit road, and a speeding penalty, Tanner, could certainly be the end of a lot of opportunities for drivers. Is it difficult to keep your car under the pit road speed limit?
Absolutely. With worn tires, you really have to be cautious when you're coming in. You turn off that last corner to come down the front stretch, and if you get too much on the throttle, it'll be hard to get on the brakes to slow it down, because you'll end up blocking the front tires, sliding into pit road, and like you said, you'll give yourself that pit road speeding penalty, and that could be detrimental to your day.
iRace Clean getting his tires, his fuel. You can see that car just twitching, ready to get out of the stall, and there he is. He's down. He's away. The real MT also exiting pit road. The 9 of TGM Beast coming around to overtake him. So pit stops continue as the laps wind down. The 24 of Catchdog 70 scored as your leader, but he's coming down pit road out of that final corner. Here comes a couple of other cars. That looks like the 4. And there is the 43. So that's the 4 car now retaking the lead. Your new, well, not brand new, but your new for now leader is Honestly You're Bad, and the number 4 Busch Ford hurtling up that hill. And behind him, that's the 43 of LXTX, and everyone's waiting for these pit stops to cycle back around.
Yeah, Rick, I think the 4 car made his pit stop at the most ideal time. I mean, he's probably going to have to make one more pit stop. As you said, they can only go about 20 laps on fuel, and unfortunately they have roughly 30 to go. But it looks like the lead that the 4 cars accumulated since taking the green flags last is going to be enough to at least put him at ease for now. I don't know how fast that 42 is, or if he's really running them down to the fullest extent, but now that the 42 and the 4 are number 1 and 2, I would like to see how it plays out.
We'd certainly like to caution a bunch of them back up together. I mean, I know we love a good And John Fry in the chat telling us the 24 is leading now. Appreciate you, Fry Dog. And we all love a good close battle. We all love having the cars, spread out and showing the dominance from one to the other. But honestly, at road course racing, nothing beats door-to-door action in the last few laps. I'm sure some of the neutrals watching at home wouldn't mind seeing that. Fans at home, let us know in the chat who you're rooting for, and we'll let you know where they are out on the racetrack. The 5 of a more smoke getting a bit too comfortable with the inside grass in turn number 1. And Tanner, I think you're starting to see the focus slip.
Yeah, Rick, they've been running this track for quite some time now, and it's getting down to the nitty-gritty. I think these guys are trying to go a little harder than what they have before to make up the last few spots that they think they can, and you're starting to see some guys slip up a little bit. I just saw the 43 have to make a stop and go, and I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they can keep their composure until the end of the race and bring home a good finish.
Here's a more smoke, and Ward Burton nose to tail now with NNR Trip. And Tanner, you mentioned keeping the focus. Does it get harder when you're by yourself to maintain that focus, where you almost kind of fall into a trance with the emptiness of the racetrack?
Yeah, absolutely, Rick. I mean, having competitors around you is definitely beneficial to keeping you in the race and keeping you focused. I mean, when you get out by yourself, you can start maybe getting a little too relaxed and not pushing the car as hard as you could. Start losing time to guys and just maybe not running the race to your fullest. But at the same time, when you're by yourself, that's a nice sense of ease where you're not by anybody. You don't have to worry about somebody spinning out or making contact with you. You can just run your line and be perfectly content with the race.
Looking at 4th, 5th, and 6th, respectively, the 12 of KFB, the 17 of ENEA Knockout, and the 8 of Dr. Bush, all racing for position as we approach the final 26 laps of racing. Now, with 25 laps to go, Tanner, is there anybody now that seems to be more apparent as the winner? Of course, one caution could ruin all of this, but for my money, I would have to say the 42 of CGMX Rose looks the most likely, given he is the fastest car on track right now, but obviously he's going to be at the mercy of the strategy of car number 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we talked about earlier, the 4 car built up such a nice lead that he's able to play a completely different strategy if he wants to, but like you hinted on just a second ago, the 42 has the speed to run him down and to make that pass. So it'll be interesting to see if that 42 maybe plays a different type of pit strategy. Maybe takes 2 tires if he can afford it, or maybe take less gas because you only have to run, half a fuel run on the last pit stop. But I mean, the 4 car's done such a good job up to this point that it's gonna be really hard to beat him. I don't know if that 42 is gonna be able to overcome that distance that honestly your bad has created.
Starting to see some rubber banding amongst these cars. The 1 of TRT with some hard rubber banding. Same with the 3 of ENEA Hound Dog, and this could be the connection as we approach 10 p.m. Eastern. Fans at home, don't forget the bump is, well, it has a name now, doesn't it? And there it is. There's the DNF by ENEA Hound Dog. You just saw it headed into the bus stop, and the rubber banding got the best of him. Hopefully, it's not the bump, and for those that aren't aware, the bump is just a shock to the server that causes races to crash, as it were. Sometimes it affects entire lobbies, other times it just affects some drivers. The 1 of TRT, one of those drivers who's having those issues. Hopefully he doesn't find himself in the same boat as the 3 of ENEA Hound Dog. Now Drew LMAO to the inside of Sir Brunson. This for position.
Yeah, Rick, I mean, like you were just talking about, you hate hearing any drivers lagging out or have the potential to lag out, but like we spoke about earlier, this could be his potential mulligan that he has to use or that he can use. So this doesn't exactly end the season yet, but it is definitely not how he wanted to start this farewell series.
The 17 of ENEA Knockout making a mistake inadvertently, cutting the corner in the bus stop, causing him to take that stop-and-go penalty. Dr. Bush getting around him with ease. The number 42 of CGMX Rose running in the top 5, but he'll need a caution to get back into race-winning contention. Dr. Bush sitting 5th, a more smoke 6th, ENEA Knockout 7th, J-Man 8th, Ward Burton 9th, for those of you wondering how your drivers are doing outside the top 10, and coming to 23 laps to go this time by, Honestly You're Bad leading the race, and he's led the majority of laps thus far. But in the horizon, Tanner, here comes car 42.
Yeah, and if you're Honestly You're Bad, you got to be questioning. I mean, how much do you look in the mirror? Do you notice him? Is he still that little speck, or can you start making out that it's that 42 car that's starting to run him down? I mean, he's been fast, but how long is it going to take him to get to the leader?
Not only that, Tanner, but we still have one more green flag pit stop if this race goes green the whole way. None of these drivers are out of the woods.
Yeah, and that's a prime area to be able to make up some time. I mean, if you're able to play a different strategy than the leader and to gain, or if you're able to pit earlier and make up time, that's exactly what you need to do now, because there's not much. You can't bank on a caution this late in the race when we've gone caution free for so long.
22 laps to go this time by. It's been a sensational race thus far, but who's going to pick up the first victory in the Heat 5 Farewell Series? CGMX Rose off that final corner, really chasing down the 4 car now. Honestly You're Bad approaching lap traffic, coming to the final 20 and then some laps. KFB 18 in the 12 car. He's ahead of the number 1 of TRT. And now look at this right here. Ward Burton behind the 5, the 17, and that looks like the 19 up ahead. These 4 cars all fighting for position, and that's ENEA Knockout side by side with a more smoke for the 6th position.
Yeah, Knockout's going to be looking to try to make up any positions he can after accidentally going off the track and getting that stop and go. Unfortunately, it cost him 2 positions, so anything that he can grab at the end of the race is going to be beneficial.
More Smoke gets the spot away from car 17. NNR Trip just ahead of the 4 of Honestly You're Bad, who's about to put old Tweeter another lap down, coming to the final 21 laps of competition. There's the 17 of Knockout. He's now behind the 19 of J-Man. Knockout being a bit more aggressive than what we're used to. And Tanner, a lot of these guys are your teammates from ENEA, or rivals as you see them. Is it... And let me ask you this, is it weird seeing these guys from a seat that you don't normally see them, knowing, hey, I race against that guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see some of these guys on the track having the same success that I normally see on Wednesday nights within the ENEA or Elite Association. But at the same time, I mean, you almost expect these guys. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, Rick, not to cut off that sentence right there. We might have a caution on the track. It appears.
Yellow flag is out.
Oh.
John Fry in the chat says caution is out, and potentially this should be a manual caution if anything. So we're going to go back to our leader here, as the pace car must be coming out, and in these final 20 laps, the yellow flag is out. It is a manual caution. There is the pace car ENEA shotgun waiting to collect our race leaders. So fans at home, that's going to give us an opportunity to take a break here. We're going to take, let's do this. We're going to go ad-free for the end of the race, but we're going to take a 3-minute ad because it's a manual caution. So we're not going to have anything happening. We're not going to have anything happen on track for at least another 3 minutes. We'll take a 3-minute ad and we'll be ad-free for the remainder of the race. Don't go anywhere. This is a great time to get up, stretch your legs, do what you need to do, and when you come back, Tanner and I will have the conclusion of the ENEA Farewell Series from the Glen. We'll see you in 3 minutes. Back from that break, fans at home, thank you so much for your patience. We're ad-free for the next half hour, and that should be good enough to take us to the end. ENEA Shotgun out ahead, but he is running the role of pace car this evening. And Tanner, it looks like the curse of the commentator may have struck here, because we have bunched these cars up inside the final 20 laps.
Yeah, Rick, it gets a little more competitive for the drivers, but a little more exciting on stream, if anything. I heard that the 18 car was making a stop-and-go penalty for unfortunately cutting one of the corners, and as he was doing that, somebody just ran right through him. So that was what brought the caution out and what bunched us all together. But, I mean, if anything, this makes it more exciting, and now we get to see what this 42 and 4 are going to be capable of.
It looks like the 4 was trying to fake his way coming down pit road, but he makes it undisturbed here. Drivers getting 2x2, and this could be the one-to-go signal, Tanner. Coming across this line, drivers are going to have 18 laps to go when they restart here. Some drivers choosing to come down pit roads, some aren't. And if I'm these drivers, Tanner, I'm thinking this is the time to come down pit road. Restarting with 18 to go, why wouldn't you want fresh tires and fuel?
Oh, absolutely. You want to make sure your fuel is filled to the brim so that you do not have to make another stop from here on out. If you can make it the last 18 laps with a clean nose, then your odds of coming home in the top 10 are pretty high right now. I mean, it looks like we only had maybe 10 drivers stay out, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less. But it looks like the back half of the race chose to come in, get fresh tires, more gas. Even if it is just one lap, that one lap is going to play a big difference. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see with the 8 car now up front if Dr. Bush plays, a little more aggressive, or if the 42 overdrives the corner just a tad bit and slides the 4 up just to try to get that pole position off the corner. It just, so many things could happen right here, Rick. I'm really curious to see how these drivers are going to react to such a late race caution after driving 30-odd laps without having any bunching up.
Well, now it's going to be those that have versus those that don't, because obviously we're going to have drivers that didn't pit. We're going to have drivers that did pit recently. So now we get to see the most interesting. We're going to see who really can make it, who can't make it, and above all else, these guys are going to be side by side, bunched up again. It's going to be crazy, just like the beginning of this race. 2 by 2. 12 rows deep, getting ready to restart this race with 18 laps to go at the Glen. The ENEA Farewell Series coming to its final few circuits in round number 1. Fans, sit tight and get ready for this. Off that final corner, the 42 is the control car, getting ready. The 4 is the control car, excuse me, getting ready to race. Green flag is out. Let's turn them loose.
Yeah, the 4 car gets a nice push from the 12 as they go down to turn 1, as the 12 looks to the inside of the 4.
Out of that first corner now, it's the 4 car leading, now headed up the hill. Honestly or bad, the 42 sits in second. Then you've got the 12 of KFB sitting in the second position now. More smoke sitting in third. Look at them file out of that second corner. So far, so good. Not a big pile up behind them yet, Tanner, but they're funneling down into the bus stop, and the caution is out once again. I spoke way too soon, bud.
Yeah, we both know that cautions breed cautions, and this is the time that everybody's trying to get as much as they possibly can, just like they were in the first couple stages. But it's going to be, to the max at this point in the race. You used to be able to give a little take, or used to be able to give. Now it's all take. There's no give. You just got to take what you can get, and just push your way to the front. A few competitors that we haven't seen before, like the 8, he's pushed himself to the front. The 19, he's up front now. The 88, but it'll be interesting to see if this is the last caution, or if cautions do continue to breed more cautions.
I wouldn't bet on this caution being the last caution, but there's only one way to find out. Let's stack them up and try again. It's the 4 and the 12 sitting on the front row. Green flag is out at Watkins Glen, and we're racing one more time. Drag race by the 12 and the 4 into the first corner. Honestly or bad versus KFB 18. The 4 tries to outbreak the 12, headed into 1. 14 to go this time by, and now we're headed up the hill once again.
So far, so good. I mean, they keep it off one another, but the 4 and the 12 are still side by side. Nobody able to really put the power down and get the line. Looks like the 4 has now finally cleared the 12 of KFB, and the 5 of Amore Smoke has moved his way up in the 3rd. But the 4, as always, looking strong as ever, working his way from the lead.
Everybody trying to file down into the corner, trying to get as much advantage as possible. And there's a pileup out of the bus stop, and it's the 19 of J-Man. The 2 of Stout Whiskey's been involved. 4 or 5 other drivers getting a piece of all this action. Look at the carnage that is out on the racetrack. Caution comes out once again, and we'll be restarting inside the final lucky 13 laps at the Glen, just when you think we're home and dry.
Yeah, I saw the 16 as well as the 8 of Dr. Bush get involved. Hate to see it for some of those guys who were just starting to make their way to the front, but go down pit road, get that fixed up, and get back at it. You still got plenty of laps. It's not a race ender just yet.
Big shout out to Uncle Fry in the chat. Big shout out to Ryan Lindemann. Shout out to Top Esports subscribing for the 10th consecutive month. Send my love out to Mama Vols as well, wherever she is. We're about to go racing again. Tanner, caution free to the end. What do you think, pal?
Absolutely not. We just saw 2 quick cautions in a row. I think everybody's going to be trying to get as much as they can here. And the 42, who's been awfully fast, is going to be starting from deep in the pack. So I think there's going to be a little more pushing and shoving.
Pushing and shoving into that first corner is exactly what they're doing, going 3 wide out of turn number 1. Everybody on pins and needles, trying not to wreck out of this first corner, headed up the hill. Here's the 19 of J-Man. He was recently involved in that accident, getting some repairs to his race car. 2, 3 wide out of the S's section. Drew LMAO being shoved out of the way of the 17. The 5th, 3rd Ford being piloted by Knockout. There's the 77, gets into the wall. Word Burton's been spun around on his way into the bus stop. The 2 car of Stout Whiskey getting involved in that one. So far, so good. Everyone makes it through with no yellows. The 4 car getting involved and getting knocked out of position now. That's going to put KFB to the lead. Everyone still scrambling out of their respective corners, trying to get some peace, some quiet. But Tanner, there is just no room for anybody to let up on the racetrack.
Yeah, man, it looks like there's a few drivers that have been tail slapped by one another. It looks like the 12 of KFB accidentally got into the 4 of Honestly You're Bad and shoved him up the carousel. And when he tried to rejoin the group, there was just, like you said before, a hornet's nest of drivers right there. And it makes it really hard when you are already 2 deep or 3 wide, and then all of a sudden you had a 4th or 5th driver there. There's just no room. I mean, it sucks for the 4 car. He's been awfully fast all day, but it's so late in the race that, I mean, you almost expect it.
The 12 of KFB 18 now leading down that back straight in the 2nd position, coming to 10 laps to go. The 18 car of PTH the GOAT running in the 2nd position, chasing down car number 12 in 3rd. The 5 Valvoline Chevy of Amore Smoke as the 17 of ENEA Knockout got a big piece of the grass, exiting the bus stop there. Ford, Toyota, Chevrolet, your top 3 so far clean and green in this lap after restart, Tanner.
Yeah, it's funny to see the 12 and the 18 battling in this farewell series, because these are 2 of the hardest competitors in the ENEA. They've found success in MDSS before. They've raced countless leagues before. And just no matter where they're racing and what league they're racing, they always find one another on the track, and here they are running 1-2.
Here comes a more smoke to the inside of car number 18, the Skittles Zombie Camry, able to hold off the attack into the corner, but not out of the corner. 12, 5, 18, now your top 3 in the final 10 laps of racing. A more smoke to the 2nd position now, and will he stay there for the remainder of this race? Will we get another caution to bunch them back up? Here comes the 18 of PTH, not able to seal that deal quite yet, but he's applying the pressure to the back end. You just saw the 42. Where is the 42 there? Yeah, what happened?
There he is. No, I'm just saying, don't look now. Here comes that 42. He started
He's
restart
there.
Deep in the pack, and all of a sudden he's up in 4th place, battling for 2nd with the 18 and the 5. If the 12 car isn't careful, I mean, this 42 is wicked fast right now. He's going to get up there.
The fresh tires, the fresh fuel now coming out of this final corner. The 12 of Rose trying to get a run up on the 18. Ford, Chevy, Toyota, still your top three, but now CGMX Rose wants to be the bow tie in that podium trifecta. Next time around, drivers will have 8 laps remaining. The 18 and the 5 side by side up the hill. This could be the break that Rose needs. Tanner.
The 18 and the 5 right now are showing a lot of respect for one another. There's been no contact whatsoever. They've been extremely respectable. Unfortunately, it's cost the 5 another position with the 42 getting by him. Now the 18 and the 42 are going to be battling one another going into the bus stop here. But, yeah, I mean, I was shocked right there for a second to see the 5 and the 18 not making any sort of contact, because that is a very hard place to stay off one another.
CGMX Rose now trying to break up the ENEA 1-2. That is, here comes that McDelivery Chevrolet chasing down the Skittles Camry. 8 to go, this time by single file for the most part here, Tanner. This could be the battle to the end. If you're the 42, do you sit and wait for the 18 to make a mistake, or do you put all the pressure now?
Oh, absolutely not. It's time to McDeliver a win if I'm the 42. I mean, I'm fast. I know I'm faster than the 18 and the 12. It's time to show them how fast I really am and get up there.
The 18 goes with a wide exit once again. Here comes Luis Sider in the 42. Can't make it stick. Let's ride around with the number 42 Chevy. Let's see if he makes the pass into the bus stop.
You know, Rick, it doesn't appear that the 18 is blocking much. It doesn't seem like the 42 is just able to get the run where he needs to get the run. The 18 drives a little bit deeper in the corner. The 42 makes up a little bit of the ground out at the bus stop, but it just doesn't seem like the 42 is really able to gain in the key areas where he was gaining before on some of his other competitors.
The name of the game still to chase down the leader of the race, the number 12 car of KFB 18, leading the 18 of PTH the GOAT, and then CGMX Rose in third, a more smoke in fourth. That looks like TGM Beast in the 5th position, and Dr. Bush running in position number 6 with 7 laps to go at the Glen. Now we've got some action amongst these competitors back here. Honestly, you're bad in the number 4 car. Now moving to the inside of Stout Whiskey in the 2. Here comes that Bush Ford, now chasing down the 16 of Trip and the 19 of J-Man. Honestly, you're bad, currently running in the 10th position. Not a bad run for the 4 so far, Tanner, but certainly a disappointment if he doesn't get back up to the podium.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's going to have one driver in mind, because that 12 car was the one that tail slapped him up into the carousel and made him lose all the positions. So I'm sure it's not enough to want to wreck the guy just yet, but he's probably going to have not so many nice things to say about him after the race.
There is KFB leading, and you can see those two in second and third are starting to get closer. Tanner, the 12 of KFB must preserve his tires, so they'll be good enough to defend, but he's got to stay fast enough, almost being the hare, in essence, forcing the 18 and the 42 to chase him.
Yeah, the 12 and the 18 were two of the drivers that decided to stay on the track when the back half of the field came in for that extra pit stop when we right before we went green. So the 42 is on 1 lap fresher tires. He's got 1 lap of extra fuel, and looks like he is running down the 12. He's not really running down the 18 as much as I was expecting him to. He has a fast car, but it seems like the 18 car is just as fast at the moment. But it does seem like that 12 car is slipping just a little bit. I'm not sure if it's because he's trying to conserve his tires, or if maybe he's really just slipping in speed.
CGMX Rose almost using the 18 as a pick, if you would, just letting the 18 do the hard work, chase down the leader, and have those two battle it out, slip through when it's most opportune.
Yeah, he already used that once with the 18 and the 5. The 18 of PTH got side by side with the more smoke, and eventually the 18 cleared him, and so did the 42. The 42 just followed the 18 right on by. So I do expect maybe Rose to let the 18 get up there, battle with the 12, maybe burn off their tires a little bit, run side by side, and then strike when it's time to take that lead.
42 peeking to the inside. Now he's taking the 18 up the inside. Rose has to check up hard so he doesn't exit so wide out of 1. The 18 gaining the advantage. Here comes PTH the GOAT up the back end. 4 to go. This time by now 12, 42, 18, and it looked like CGMX Rose picked his moment there, Tanner. Now Zeiter chasing down that body armor Ford like there's no tomorrow.
If I'm KFB right now, I am sweating bullets. This 42 has been fast all race, and I don't know what it's going to take to hold him off. I don't know if the 12 really can hold him off because the 42 is so fast. He's been able to find speed in every line that he's ran, regardless of what corner he's in on the track. He's just been one of the top 3 fastest guys all day, and I think if you're the 12, you got to resort to blocking. I mean, there's no way you're going to be able to hold the lead with the tires you have now without a little bit of luck or a little bit of blocking.
4 laps to go. Ford, Chevy, Toyota, your top 3 with more smoke, now exiting the final corner in 4th. The 42 chasing down that 12, but will he have enough to get around him? As the adage goes, Tanner, it's one thing to catch him, it's another thing to pass him. So here is what they've been fighting for. Now as we approach a quarter after 10 on the East Coast, all this racing coming down to the final 3 laps. The faster car having to get around the slower car, but the slower car with better defense. Who do you got?
Honestly, right now, I hate to say it because KFB is one of my buddies over in ENEA, but this CGM Rose, he is truly the fastest guy on the track right now, and I think he's going to bring it home first.
Rosie chasing down the 12. Will Zeiter pick up another victory? 3 laps to go. 12, 42, 18, your top 3.
Yeah, if you're KFB right now, you just got to be looking to see where CGM Rose has been picking up all of his time. And unfortunately, they're about to go down to turn 1, where that's where the 42 has picked up most of the time. Looks like the 42 might try. Oh, no, he doesn't. He was looking at the 12, inside of the 12 for a moment, but decided better of it. And the 12 retains the lead coming off turn 1.
He'll have to wait until the bus stop. Now headed up that hill. 42 chasing down the 12. Will he have the passing opportunity? Riding along with the 42 now. Into the bus stop. No outbraking opportunity, so with 2 laps to go, the 42 will have to use turn 1 for that passing opportunity if he looks to the inside of the inner carousel. But Rose thinks better of it. And a brilliant race car driver, this kid. I've seen him drive in not in ENEA. I think I've seen him drive in NNR. I think he's been in a couple Filter Time eSpark races as well. And wherever he goes, almost like a lucky dog or a slide job, you would pick this guy to be one of your top competitors to win the race. And look at the exit he's got now, Tanner. Sizing up the 12, headed up the inside. Will he outbrake him into 1? Lines up the move, and he just can't get to him. He's going to have to try the bus stop once again. The 12's gone.
Oh my goodness, I think
there's the 12. Loses control of the race car out of turn number 1. And just like that, CGM Rose, new leader at Watkins Glen with 1.5 laps remaining.
I'm curious if the 12 maybe got down on the gas a little too soon. Maybe the back end got light, and when the 42 was right up on him, it just kind of helped spin him around, because that 42 is now clear in first place, and the 12 is nowhere to be found. I mean, if you're KFB right now, you got to be frustrated with what just happened right there. But I don't believe that was the 42's fault.
Approaching the final lap of action now. Chevy, Ford, Toyota, your top 3. KFB has to wait on a mistake now because it has been a clinical drive. And I think this is either the first or second time this race that the 42 might lead, but he has not led a lot, just the important laps. 2.5 more miles to settle it at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, my apologies, Rick. When I saw them go through turn 1 last time by, it looked like the 12 car went all the way around and was going to be losing a lot more positions. But I do see that he's now in the back bumper of the 42 as they come through the S's. And he's still set up to be, potentially in the spot to win the race.
Rose isn't out of the woods. He's got to nail his marks. The 42 out of the S's. Now down that back straight. The 12 car sizing him up, getting the draft. On those brakes hard. Here comes the 12. Sends it in deep, and KFB just can't get to him. CGM Rose has one more opportunity to mess this up. He's got to stay on that gas, but be smooth. can't make the same mistake as the 12, and he doesn't. KFB with a great exit out of the carousel. One more move into 10. He can't pull it off. Sends it in deep, but he doesn't get to the back bumper, and a clinical drive will turn into a W for the Golden Arched 42. CGM Rose off that final corner victorious in the farewell series at Watkins Glen.
What a race ran by that 42 car. He definitely had one of the fastest cars all day, so no one can debate that he didn't deserve this whatsoever. The 12 car threw it away late in the race, but I mean, you can't argue that the 42 is definitely deserving of it out of all the fast drivers we saw today, the 4, the 20, the 42, the 5. I mean, he was definitely one of the class acts.
Fans, don't go anywhere. We're going to have top 3 interviews in the broadcast booth incredibly shortly. CGM Rose, your winner. KFB getting the second spot, and PTH the GOAT with the bronze. Don't go anywhere. Podium interviews in just a minute. Now on the podium with our top 3, and what a grand race that was, starting with 3rd position in the number 18 Skittles Zombies Camry, PTH the GOAT. GOAT, what a great way to start the farewell series. A 3rd place at the Glen.
Yeah, Rick. First off, I want to thank Dr. Bush and everyone that helps put this event on. It's fun to race in. I had a bunch of fun races sitting up there with KF and Rose, and it was a good battle. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you, buddy. Thanks so much for coming through, and once again, thanks for putting on a show for the fans. Congratulations on that 3rd place finish.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man.
Tanner, you are with our silver medalist tonight.
Yes, sir, Rick. KFB up in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir. I sure do.
Alrighty, man. Well, you had a very fast car. You were able to bring it home second. You were up there battling with the 4 of honestly you're bad, and you led a lot of laps in the final 20. What do you think it would have taken to possibly brought it home with a win?
Honestly, I don't think I could have brought it home from a win. I mean, I gave it all I had, all that 12 car had. It's just no matter what I do, I hit my marks. I'm running 106.3s, and I'm somehow Rose is catching me. So I mean, he just had a car that nobody could contend with tonight, and I want to thank everybody that puts it on, Dr. Bush, you, Annihilator, Rick James, for all the support you guys do for us and make this thing happen. So we wouldn't be in this position without you guys. So thanks.
Absolutely, sir. It was a great start to your farewell series. Very respectable second place. And now we're going to send it right back to Rick James with our winner.
Our winning interview brought to you by the good folks over at DI9 Designs. DI9 Designs is a Chase Elliott design page on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at DI9 Designs, designing all sorts of media such as Chase Elliott wallpapers, backgrounds for whatever you can imagine for your phone, computer, XYZ. And they also offer 20% off all your diecast and merch sales at circlebsales.com when you use discount code DI9Designs. And I got that wrong, actually. They offer, what is it? Free shipping. There it is. I said 20% off. That was wrong. They offer free shipping on all your diecast and merch orders over $20 at circlebsales.com when you use the discount code DI9Designs. And now the winner, driver of the number 42 McDelivery Chevrolet CGMX Rose. What a way to start the farewell series. Rosie, Rick James up top. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, there we go, buddy. Starting on that last restart, man, Annihilator pointed out that you were so far behind. Did you think you had a chance to win it starting outside the top 10?
No, I thought I got damage on one of those restarts, so I said, well, might as well pit here and fix it, or else I'm not gonna be the 4 car, because he was really even with me throughout the race. So I said, well, I gotta fix this damage if I'm gonna have any shot. And then he sort of got shuffled around, and I think they penalized him. So I sort of saw the opportunity and did the best I could to hit my marks, and I was able to catch KFB there over those last 10 laps and make the pass.
You made the pass. You got the W, my friend. Are we going to see you next week for the continuation of the series?
Yeah, you should see me for the entire season.
Sounds
gonna
good,
try
man.
well thing and lead us to the next game.
All right, man. Sounds good. So we'll see you next week for more racing action. That's going to put a close to our festivities tonight. My esteemed thanks to KFB, PTH, the GOAT, CGM Rose, and of course my partner in the booth, Tanner Lockhart. Tanner, thank you so much for coming through tonight.
Absolutely, Rick. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to work with one of the greatest in the industries.
Thank you to everybody over at ENEA and DI9 Designs for putting on a show. Fans at home, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch for more updates. And until the next race, everybody stay safe, take care of each other, and we will see you all around the corner.